Please forgive the fan, I'm doing this in the bathroom, but good evening everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. There is something that's come up that I thought I'd share with you guys. So, it turns out that Nick Tenconi has actually been on Dan Wootton's Outspoken show. It turns out that Nick Tenconi actually has plans to invite Tommy Robinson in, make him an MP, and get him elected into the Houses of Treachery, I mean Parliament, or maybe I was right first time, by 2029. Now this sounds very ambitious for Nick Tenconi. My only problem is that a lot of people right now are boarding the reform train. And can I really blame these people? Not really, because Nigel Farage is the sort of person who knows how to galvanise an audience, and he certainly has a much bigger audience than what Nick Tenconi has. The thing is, though, I believe Nick Tenconi actually has the best of Britain at heart, whereas Nigel Farage, I am firmly of the belief that he's merely in it just as a showman for the points, for the power, for the money, for the fame. But I could be wrong on this. I have been wrong before. Not very often, but I have been wrong before. And I do think that Nigel Farage, as much as I thought he was an upstart guy when he gave us that EU referendum, and he basically is taking on the establishment and what have you, a lot more people are coming out and think that Nigel Farage is basically controlled opposition. It could well be that the government is putting him there just as a Punch and Judy show-esque show that, you see, we have got opposition and we've got to defeat the far right, as we call it, because obviously we want to deflect all the attention away from us when we're the ones raising taxes, buggering the elderly, and of course sending money off to Syria and fucking terrorists and funding wars and all that shit. But that's something the media would rather not say, as blunt as I do, as blunt as a sledgehammer. Well, it would be if I could carry the fucking thing. Anyway, the point is, I don't think Farage is actually truly in it for the people. I think he's in it more for himself. The only difference here, and back when the referendum was given to us, is that back then Nigel Farage was a lot smaller. Now Nigel Farage has a much bigger party. Unfortunately, though, I do think he is compromised by having Zia Youssef as one of his biggest, if not the biggest backer in the party. I think anything to do with Islam, I tend to get very uncomfortable with, quite frankly. I'd love to be able to be like, you know what? I like this guy. I like this person. I want to be able to get along with some of these people, even if they may be of the so-called religion of peace. But the trouble is, we've already seen time and time again what Islam loves to do, how they love to subjugate, dominate and conquer and all that shit. And they also love to do it by, well, I guess Majid Nawaz is a very good example of this, how they would try to instigate military coups against their former enemies. That is what Majid Nawaz did when he was apparently a former Islamic terrorist and worshipper of Alan Snackbar, whoever the fuck he is. But I worry more than anything that we don't have the time to wait for 2029. I'd love to be optimistic, and I know from when I was down in the dumps about my problems, my inner demons as it were, and I know I look like I'm becoming a spring chicken, well, maybe more like a spring hippo, but hey. Anyway, the point is, I like to think that I've got my head screwed on, although maybe it needs a little tightening here and there, but I don't think we've got the 5 years to wait. I think we'll be lucky if we've got 3 to 6 months, especially with the direction that Keir the traitor Starmer is taking us, with, as I said, funding terrorism and wars, and basically trying to lock up and gag anybody who tries to speak out about the truth. even more so and even more prevalent when we come to the Southport case, the Southport cover-up, which I all but guarantee you now, the moment the lid gets blown open on this, Keir the Traitor Starmer's career is over. Just like that. It'll be like a fart in the wind. He'll be gone. Because there is no shot that Keir the Traitor Starmer will be able to live up to this one. I don't think even a man like Winston Churchill could stand up to that. I don't think even people like Tommy Robinson, if they were guilty of it, would be able to stand up to that, quite frankly. I think at the end of the day, as much as I do want to back Nick Tenconi, which reminds me I still need to do that fucking letter, I keep putting it off because I'm trying to stay on top of real life shit to make sure I don't lose what 2 brain cells have got locked up in here, and they're already busy on the fucking hamster wheel, let me tell you. So there is something I need to do over the Christmas holidays, but I think realistically, I think we need to start thinking about the now rather than the future. I think we need to start thinking about how do we stop this treacherous man that is Keir the Traitor Starmer from doing any more damage to our God-given beloved country. I do not think there is an easy solution to this, quite frankly. Maybe if it was like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe I could say, you know what, there's a chance we can have a peaceful resolution. But the cold bitter truth is, the longer this goes on, the more at risk we are of losing our country. I think Keir the Traitor Starmer is going to have to go much sooner rather than much later. Because if he doesn't, God help us all, and God help Great Britain. But that's just my humble opinion. What do you think? At the end of the day, I think I know which horse I'd rather back. And I'd rather not back a horse that has been known to buck and fuck us around, that has been known to stab us in the back, that has been known to refer to Tommy Robinson's group as that lot. I would rather back someone who genuinely cares about their people. Nick Tenconi, as I said, he's got the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to be able to stand side by side with some of the patriots who the establishment are so quick to resort to phrase slaving with far right and fascist and racist and Islamophobe, because that's all they know how to do. They grab all the name tags from the shelf and they start throwing them out like frisbees, because that's all they're good at. They're not good at providing facts, but they're very good at deflection, projection, and reflection. That's all they're good at. While in the end, there are things that you just can't reflect. Think of it like a door, and think of somebody holding a battering ram, literally ready to bash the bloody thing in. That's what we are right now. We're the battering ram, ready to batter the gates down of the houses of treachery. And the whole thing, before too much longer, will hopefully fall over Keir the Traitor Starmer's head. And hopefully, we can get our country back before he destroys it.